Good morning, Doug. We talked a little bit about the inconsistency that we've seen from this team on Monday. I'm curious, how you try to make those corrections now, to use the cliche, for full 4 quarters of football moving forward.
Well, Chris, it's something that we're constantly working on corrections each week. I mean, we're learning from the game, we're learning from last week in practice, and we're applying that stuff, to this week. And we understand it. We do have some young players playing, and there's going to be mistakes that come up during games. But we were able to sit down and watch the game film yesterday with the players, be able to go on the field with them or be in the meeting rooms with them, and really show them the good plays, and also show them where we need to make improvements. And those are things that these guys will learn, carrying over into this week.
Les and then Paul.
Hey, Doc. Lane Johnson's second opinion on his ankle. What can you tell us about that? And do you expect to have him this week against the Ravens?
Well, I'm not going to comment on his second opinion, but I will say that he's going to be out today. We're going to give him some rest. He's kind of in that day-to-day realm right now. We're going to see where he's at later in the week, but we'll find out. And see where he's at.
Thank you,
Paul, and then Ruben.
Yeah, Doug, I wanted to ask you about Lamar. 3 years ago, when John and Ozzie drafted him, would you have thought at that point that it was feasible to have such a successful offense with a quarterback running 170 plus times a season?
I think with Lamar's skill set and how they've used him and how they integrated him, even with Joe Flacco that first year, it's possible. Marty Mornhinweg is on staff with me now, and he was down there when they drafted him, and he saw that that integration into the offense with him, and so it's very capable. With a guy of his skill set, his athleticism. He does have a really good arm to be able to sustain and have the type of production that he has.
Ruben and then Zach.
Hey, good morning, Doug. With Lane Johnson, is there possibly some value in just shutting him down for a couple of weeks so you don't have a situation where he's got to leave like the last 2 games early and Jack's Driscoll's got to go in there and play? What's the thinking there?
Well, I want to make sure, number one, that he's 100%, and if he's 100%, then he'll play. Players play, right? I mean, but obviously those are conversations we have later in the week with all our guys, and obviously we're talking about Lane now, but we're not there yet with him. We'll make that determination as we get further down this week.
Zach and then Tim.
Hey, Doug, you started the clock on Will Parks yesterday. Are you expecting him to be able to play this weekend? And when he does return, can he step into a big role, or do you need to phase him in?
Well, we activated him. And the reason we activated him because he's healthy and he is ready to go. But also, he has to practice and he has to get integrated back into the defense on special teams. And there's that mental side of things, right? Of how much does he retain from when when he was here with us practicing back in camp? So he's another one that we'll see how the week goes, and if we feel like he can help us on defense, then there's a possibility of making a move. But we got to see him here in the next couple of days, and then see how he feels coming out of a full day's work.
Tim and then Jeff.
Doug, Le'Veon Bell is a free agent now. You guys have been keeping tabs on the running back market. What's your evaluation of the player, and are you guys going to take a run at him?
Who said we were keeping tabs on the running back market?
Well, you guys have been since the summer. You said you had just missed out on one of the free agents that ended up signing in Seattle. I mean, it's out there.
Oh, okay. Listen, I'm extremely comfortable with the guys we have. And I can't. Obviously, Le'Veon's a good player, and he's had a lot of production in this league. But I'm excited, about Miles, what he's done. getting Boston interjected into the system, getting Corey an opportunity, and this is thinking this is a situation where I think we have found our 3-down guy in Miles, and that's something that we've been looking for, as you guys know, and so we're thrilled about that. And we're also excited about the young guys behind him. Well, they're all young, but with Boston and Corey and even Huntley. I mean, this is a guy that has got some speed and athleticism. So, there's room to grow there. There's room to get better. But I'm excited about the guys we have.
Jeff and then Dave.
Doug, we saw you chip block and max protect occasionally on Sunday to offset that pass rush and to help the young guys. What are the obviously the advantages of that, and but also some of the disadvantages when you have to do that a lot?
Well, the advantages are just like you mentioned. It allows guys like Jordan Mailata and Jack Driscoll, even Lane Johnson or Jason Peters, if they're playing tackle, it just helps them with these edge rushers. These guys are so athletic and powerful these days that you got to do anything you can, especially on third down, to try to disrupt some pass rush rhythm. And then the other thing, it allows the quarterback to maybe take a deeper drop and survey the field a little bit longer when you can do that. Obviously, the downside of it is if you need a back or a tight end quickly, there's obviously some blocking involved, and so you might have to give up something that way in order to get something, and we're trying to. Obviously, the protection is the number one thing in those situations.
Dave and then Skaversky.
Good morning, Doug. How has Matt Pryor played since being there at right guard? And you guys brought in Jamon Brown a few weeks ago. Any thought to possibly making a switch at that position?
Pryor's done well. Again, it's not perfect or 100% on a grading sheet, but he's done some really good things in there, and he's a big guy, and he's getting better each week, and we brought Jamon Brown in to give us depth, obviously, to give us a little competition at that position, and we got to keep him coming as well, because we sit here today and we know that injuries are a part of the game, and you never know when these guys have to be prepared and ready to go. So Brown is obviously in that position of learning our system and trying to help us where he can.
Jeff and then Bo.
Hey, Doug, good morning. Wanted to ask you, what is it going to mean to you and your team to have fans out there for the first time? Obviously, it's not going to be packed, but to even have a little bit of fans, that has to be something special for you guys.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm so glad for this day to be here, to have fans in our stands. And to feel the energy of the crowd, even a small crowd, right? I mean, it was really good in Pittsburgh to have the fans there, and just to see them, to come out of the tunnel and to see people in our bleachers is going to be exciting. We've talked about it before. Our players are going to feel energized to have them there, and to have our families back in the stands is it's important to them. It's important to us, and we're really looking forward to it.
Oh, and then John McMullen.
Doug, you mentioned Marty. I'm just curious how much you looked at, Lamar in designing the package you have for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, we took a look at a little bit of that, and looked at Lamar and what he did and what Marty had done with he and Joe Flacco. There's some carryover there. We obviously look at Jalen's college tape and what he did in college at Oklahoma and Alabama, and we find ways to again incorporate him into the offense. And but yeah, the stuff that Lamar did early in his career is all things that maybe not everything, but there are some things that we can put a package together for Jalen that way. Sure.
We have time for a couple more. So John, Martin, and then Mike K.
Hey, Doug. Good morning. Travis Fulgham, beyond the production in Pittsburgh, it seemed to me that he was lined up all over. Is that rare? Is that a fair assessment? Is that rare for a young player? And if it is, what have you seen in Travis to put that much on his plate so early?
Well, it's not necessarily rare for us. I know on the depth chart we might label a guy a Z receiver, an X receiver, a slot receiver, but in my eyes, they're all receivers, and we have to have the ability to use them in any capacity, anywhere on the field, any formations. And when we game plan, we want to make sure, especially in the passing game, we want to make sure that we have guys in the right spots, and so that's what we do. And we took everything that we gave him in the 49er game, and we loaded him up, and it wasn't 100%. There were some mistakes that were made on his part, in the game Sunday, but to have the production and to have the type of game that he did, you can coach. Now you can coach a guy like that, right? You can coach the good and the bad, and that's really the way we treat all our players. But we look at it as, these guys are receivers for us, and we're going to put them in a position to help us, not only execute that play, but ultimately win a game.
Martin and then Mike.
Hey, Doug. What kind of signs do you look for in Carson over the last two games to kind of show that he's been playing better than, when the season started?
Well, I think the decision making, the accuracy of the throws, he's obviously seeing the field and spreading the ball around and getting everybody involved, and then of course he's been using his legs, not only for designed runs like we had in San Francisco for the touchdown, but also on third down or scrambles, on passing or in passing situations, and those are all things that we've kind of encouraged him to continue to do and still protect himself, and he's done that. And then he's played really tough. He's played physical in the pocket. He's stood in there and he's taken some shots, but delivered the ball down the field, and those are all signs of him, coming and playing better, and it's really good to see that he's learning too, just like we all are, and he's learning from the past and moving on.
Go ahead, Mike.
Doug, a couple of weeks ago, you said you welcomed having to make difficult decisions at the wide receiver position because having a plethora of talent obviously is a good thing. But when Deshaun and Alshon come back and you're game planning for them as the play caller, how much do you have to kind of weigh the present and the future with the way that somebody like Travis and John Hightower and all those guys are playing?
I mean, it's a difficult thing. One, we got to make sure that the player in question is healthy, right? I mean, and that's just why we practice during the week, and we let them practice today, and we see how they feel tomorrow on a Thursday, and then we see how they feel on Friday, and then we can make a decision, for game day. And but at the same time, it is hard to say, hey, okay, Travis, we're gonna push you to the side because here comes a couple of guys. We got to get all our guys integrated back into practice this week, and at the end of the day, we got to select the 4 or 5 guys that we feel give us the best, opportunity on game day. And some of it could be based just purely on matchup, right? And obviously Travis has made a case to continue to play and play at a high level.